What's going on, my broskiis? My name is TheLordShiro, back again, here to bring you guys yet another One Piece Treasure Cruise video. Now, this is going to be a little bit different from a lot of my other tier list videos that I've uploaded in the past, and the main reason for that is because over the last, I would say, maybe 6 months, maybe even a bit longer than that, I feel like the tier list has been pretty stagnant, as in a lot of the characters that have come out haven't really been competing for the top positions, and I do feel like, you know, at least the top 5, even maybe the top 10, I feel like they're pretty solidified right now, and there's not really a lot going on in terms of changing that. And I would say, at least if you're like a hardcore Treasure Cruise player, and you kind of are determining like which characters are the best, I feel like if you're looking at like a top 20, which is what we do with this tier list here, the positions from like 6 all the way down to 20 are pretty subjective. I would say the top 5 are relatively solidified, and then from there on, it's pretty much up to your opinion. I guess, to be honest, most tier lists are up to your own opinion. It's just the way that you evaluate characters in the game. So for this tier list, surprise, surprise, I'm not changing the tier list this month. The tier list is going to remain the same. You could make some small adjustments here and there, but looking at it right now, I don't feel comfortable changing the list right now. What I will do, though, is that once we get the 11th anniversary Sugofest characters, that is when I'll be uploading a tier list video. After we have the characters, we play around with them for a little bit. We're not really too sure what the structure of the event is going to be like, whether it's going to be like the 10th anniversary, where they just dump everything at once, or if it's going to be like the 9th anniversary, which was like Luffy, Yamato, Oden, Toki, then Sanji and Queen, and then Zoro and Alba. I wasn't really a big fan of that structure. Hopefully they don't go down that route. I would prefer just a big dump of all the information straight away, and then we can kind of use the characters and determine where they are going to be ranking. So that's what we're going to be doing, right? So there's not going to be any changes to this month's tier list. Surprise, surprise. You know, obviously Zoro Sanji is still pretty much the best legend in the game. We've got the 10th anniversary units from last year, including Roger. All phenomenal characters. Luffy versus Kaido, I definitely think is one of the best legends in the game. Sai Luffy, you know, a lot of people are umming and ahhing whether this character is even top 10 at this point. I still think the base 6-star form of this Luffy is still incredibly strong. Nami Karina, Blackbeard versus Law. I would say Blackbeard is definitely losing favor with people because they haven't been releasing that many good powerhouse units. So this character is definitely fallen out of favor a little bit, but hey, Rumble's still very good. I'm still a big fan of Uta. Uta's still one of my favorite legends in the game, and then from there on out, it's kind of your opinion, right? But what I will do before I wrap up this video is I want to talk about the characters that have come out in the most recent month, because I know that some people like when I talk about, you know, the most recent releases. So last month's tier list ended at Daz Bones. We had Alba, we had Mihawk, and we had Daz Bones, and that's when I uploaded the tier list video. We then had the release of the Pirate Rumble banner with Pika, and we had Doflamingo. I'm not really a big fan of the gatekeeping of these paywalled legends. I hate it when they paywall these super evolutions. Doflamingo is actually a pretty good 6+. I haven't seen too many people have him on their accounts. I would love to get his skulls to actually use him because he seems really good on paper. And then looking at Pika, he doesn't seem that great. I don't think he's going to see much play at all. I will say that I do think he does have a place in Rumble. In terms of normal content, though, I don't see him being used. And then I do think Doflamingo will be used in Rumble in some capacity, but in normal content, again, like it's really hard to determine whether these 6+s are actually going to see play. Sometimes they'll release like a random treasure map that's going to be really good for them, like a random TM boss. But the thing is about this Dofi that's so good is he does have the ability to resist special bind, so that's a really big thing as a captain, and it is one of the reasons why you'd use him. He's really good for other treasure map fights though, because he does have the ability to wave clear with his super type, so you can wave clear the first 2 stages, special bind removal and his captain ability, very good for TM mini bosses. Moving on from that, we had Tashigi. Tashigi, a little bit of a controversial unit. A lot of people really wanted this character to be good. I think she's okay. I don't think she's going to see a ton of play, but she does have unique abilities. Obviously, the ability to auto-launch her special, as long as you have an orb boost activated at some capacity at some point during the content, boom, next turn, you get her special to launch. I think that's really cool, and her super type being able to remove your beneficial effects could definitely have a lot of good use cases as well. Sometimes the enemy gives you a really bad buff, like a 1.1 times attack boost, meaning you can't apply your own good attack boost. So having the ability to just remove it and then go ahead and abuse that is really good. However, I don't see this character being used in a lot of content because she does have very niche circumstances. I don't see her being used that much as a captain unless we get more captain shift units where you can have this character start as a captain, use her abilities, use her super type to remove some effects, and then switch her out of the captain position with captain shift. Moving on from that, we had the release of Sabo and Bonnie. Now, I do think Sabo and Bonnie they can potentially reach top 20 worthy. The ability to select a unit to just avoid all debuffs can be incredibly powerful, especially if you're using them in a hybrid scenario with like another captain that can resist a bunch of stuff, like for example like the Seraphim or like the Lunarian characters that have the ability to just resist whatever debuffs they're inflicted by themselves. That is a really good effect, but if your other captain can't resist it as well, meaning if you're inflicted with despair, yes, your Lunarian or your Seraphim can resist it, but then the other captain is just dead in the water. So if you have Sabo and Bonnie to just click that one character, they aren't affected by that debuff, that can be very useful. Very similar to Legend Toki, and Legend Toki, as you guys can see, is in my top 15. I think this character is phenomenal, and we'll still see a ton of play. The big difference between these two, though, is that Sabo and Bonnie, they only can select one unit, and after that duration expires, you don't get that 3.5 times attack and orb boost like what Toki does. So that's obviously a big downside. However, they do have some other cool things as well. They've got the weakness debuff. They've got great chain related effects. So they've got some cool stuff going on. It really comes down to how useful that Toki ability that this character has. Even though it is kind of like Toki, it's kind of not like Toki at the same time. So I think there is potential. We'll have to wait and see. But I do just think that the New Year's Sabo is just a better version of this unit, honestly. Then we got Vivi and Rebecca. Vivi Rebecca, I haven't made a showcase video for this character. I don't plan to. This character is very annoying to use. Terrible captain. However, very good crewmate. Phenomenal switch. Great super switch that they gave this unit as well. Just a straight up buff. All around really, really good stuff. I really wish that they provided more stuff in her special. It just doesn't do enough, in my opinion. The color affinity is great. Great numbers. Being able to remove the rainbow shield and blue shield. Obviously, they already had that. But I wish that they provided some other really cool ability. They do have the ability to resist. I think it, like, get rid of, like, damage nullification. But only under the circumstance that you're inflicted with type effect nullification. Which is extremely rare. Doesn't happen that often, except in a super boss scenario in most times. That's like the most common place you're going to see it, and I just don't see Vivi and Rebecca being used in a super boss scenario unless if that one specific circumstance where they've got nullification, you can use their super switch ability. I don't know. There's all the planets have to align to actually make Vivi Rebecca good, which is not going to be in a lot of circumstances though. Then we move on to the latest batch. We have Kuma and we have Vegapunk. Now, out of these two, I do think Vegapunk does have the potential to reach like top 10 level character. I think he does have that potential. Like, let's say it's all of the Vegapunk abilities, but it's tailored towards the Straw Hats. It would be insane. It would be legit one of the greatest characters in the game. It'd be incredibly strong. So if we see something like that, maybe for the 11th anniversary, where it's a very similar design to Vegapunk, but you know, it's not cerebral focused. Let's say it's free spirit focused, and then instead of scientist, egghead, Vegapunk, it's like Straw Hat Pirates. If they did all of that and then maintain the same effects, it would be busted as hell. But because this character is like so hell-bent on using other Vegapunk characters, this character is only as good as the crewmates that it can apply. So that's the real downside to Vegapunk. I do think he has massive potential, massive upside, but as of right now, I would not be comfortable putting him into top 20. We have Kuma. I think he's a little bit disappointing. I think that the ability that he has to remove the amount of turns of blowaway, I mean, it's cool, but let's be real here. How often are you inflicted with blowaway that only lasts a couple of turns? That's really going to make that much of a difference. Are you really going to put one character in your crew to remove 4 turns of blowaway? Probably not, unless if the content calls for it, of course, which is not that often. A lot of the times, if you're inflicted with blowaway for X amount of turns, you can get around it without having to use Kuma. It's not going to be a problem, right? So there's that. He has a pretty cool super type. It's neat. His special is fine. Captain ability is fine. Like, he's just a respectable unit. He's a pretty typical end of month batch character. He's okay. He's going to see some niche play here and there. I just don't see him making a massive splash in the quote-unquote meta of OPTC. So unfortunately, yeah, really not much to talk about. A little bit of a lull period, a little bit of a dead month, which is to be expected considering we're coming, you know, right into the season of the 11th anniversary. We're hoping that when the 11th anniversary drops, we're getting the information on May 6th, that it's going to be a huge splash, and I really hope that this changes this top 10 immensely, or top 20 immensely, because for the good part of a year now, these characters have just maintained this same position and not much has really changed. The 10th anniversary brought some of the best characters in Treasure Cruise history. Zoro and Sanji, was a massive mistake. And, Bandai just keep releasing greater and greater units that this character can synergize with. It's crazy. They just, every time they release a new Free Spirit or a Slasher, it's like, boom, Zoro Sanji just makes it better. And then the problem is as well, is because this character will always compete with another Zoro or another Sanji that they choose to release. And it's funny, whenever they do that, Zoro Sanji still comes out on top. He's just that freaking good, dude. I just don't know how they're going to make him not the best character in the game, because just the way that he is designed is so insane. He just does everything. So I don't know how that's going to go. Anyways, hopefully you enjoyed this video today and you look forward to the 11th anniversary, and hopefully we can see a little bit of a shake up here. Hopefully you enjoyed the video though. If you did, make sure to go ahead and leave a like, and if you want to stay up to date with all the content I post, including more One Piece Treasure Cruise content, make sure to hit the subscribe button down below. On that, guys, I'll see you guys within the next video.